Bishop is absent. Black,
Yes, here.
Easley,
Here.
Pace is absent. Riddle,
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Mayor Davis.
Here. Do we have any items to be added to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Please, do I need to make this statement here?
Motion by Black, seconded by
Thompson.
Thompson. To approve the agenda.
Should I say this little quote right here beforehand or after the fact?
Before, just that
All
once you
right,
get
so
started.
please remember that the council's work session is designed for internal council and town staff communication, discussion, and work, not a question and answer session with the audience. Accordingly, during the work session, no questions or comments from the audience will be entertained. Respectfully, any outbursts or disorderly conduct from the audience will not be tolerated and may result in offending persons' removal from the work session. Minutes will be kept and will be posted on the town website under Agendas and Minutes button on the front page. As a reminder, all town citizens and other appropriate parties as designated by the Code of the State of Virginia and the town charter are permitted to make comments under the recognition of citizens and public comments section of tonight's council meeting.
So we have a motion by Black, seconded by Thompson to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, Bishop is absent. Black,
Yes.
Pace is absent. Easley, Thompson,
Yes.
Riddle,
Yes.
who did I skip?
Easily. You got it right. You got it right.
Okay. All right, so you're going out of order.
I know, and being
Trying to-
short.
trying to
All right,
mix
so
it up.
staff reports or presentations. Mr. Town Manager.
Right. All right, council members, those of you that are brave enough to be here today, and other things, all right, so second phase is, I sent out what we agreed to last time, was everyone laid out, there ended up being 24 items of interest for the discretionary spending lines. What I asked is that you would look at those, prioritize them, 1 through 24, and then we'll rack and stack those into, really just gets us into our categories, so we'll have a vision of how we have 6 different priorities, and then where they fit into our spending categories of public safety, street, sidewalks, parks, cemeteries, growth, and renewal. Now remember, this does not include the water sewer side, is separate because it's an enterprise, and the committee will work through that. It also does not include the operational side of the budget, of the things, salaries, insurance, those things that finance and personnel will talk and push up because they're, while not necessarily a fixed dollar, they're a fixed expense, non-discretionary expense. So anybody like to throw out some of their top, what this helps us, the reason why this is important is one, it lets us understand where we can prioritize our efforts for getting hard numbers for those quotes instead of chasing 24 things down. We're able to go after those top 5. We know we have some in there already because there's some cost share available, but it allows staff to get you hard quotes so we're not coming in with a 25–30% change by the time we get executing on the budget.
It would be helpful,
Yeah.
if you would, bring us up to date on a couple of these things, which has some partial funding from, non-governmental sources.
So partial funding will be in, let's see, so we have the cleanup of the 57 West Bridge.
That's correct.
Has basically $21,000 to $24,000
So roughly
available, half.
half-ish.
The 4th of July fireworks, Rotary Club has put in half. Farmers Market, Chatham First puts in half. We don't really have,
What about the sidewalks?
so while there may be,
Potential.
there's potential, the problem is in order to, qualify for that money, the town has to commit to the full price.
So VDOT's doing this.
VDOT does has the grant available, but they they won't tell you what the amount is, you submit the package and say, we've got our quote, it meets your standards, their engineering standards, we're committed to the full price, and then we do the
They get a reimbursement,
maybe,
maybe.
which that is the hard part about it.
Well,
You said money? Oh, I'm sorry.
Bill probably knows this, that we fixed the sidewalks downtown.
Yeah.
And VDOT was gonna pay half.
I never did.
And no, they were gonna pay half, but the problem was, it was too high. So we hired somebody straight out just to do it to their standards and wound up, I think we came out on our end low. And the main thing was they had had so many inspectors to watch everything for so long that they wound up eating all the money up in payroll on their end.
So we came out ahead even of them paying half,
We did,
I said.
yes.
And
It's absolutely true.
it sounded good, they're gonna pay half, but the number was so big that once we just found this guy, and I don't think he's doing it anymore, but anyway, we found him, and he wound up doing it in a manner that made everybody happy in town. He didn't disrupt any businesses, he did it, on Saturdays and, late, and it just, he worked around and everybody was happy. So keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay, well, it's good, definitely good to know
We may
the,
find somebody could do it.
the Peach Street extension should be fairly straightforward.
Yes.
We own the land, we already have the easements with our sewer lines down there. And it's just a straight, sidewalk.
Before you get off on the slack bus too much, is there any money offered for Silas Moore Park?
There is, right now, it's about a third of what the, updated quote is for the paving.
If we know what the funding is for, we must know basically what the overall job is. So can you put those numbers in there?
As far as,
Well, let's see.
well, and that's,
Clean up down there, we're gonna get 20, so we must figure it's gonna cost us 40.
we do, so my goal is to get priorities first with disregard to cost. Because
I'm thinking the other way around.
Well, I know. But what I wanna do is get priorities of what we want done.
Mhm.
And then we make the hard chops, because there'll be some whickering now, go back and forth, but I don't wanna cut out, we might throw something down at the bottom because we don't think it's important, but realize in the money side of it, it might move up once we lay it across there. We might have a, 1, 2, 3 are good, but when we get into 7, it's too expensive, but we can bring 12 up, and that's where the dollars come in. Because that becomes a, what do we wanna see, what do we think will impact the town first, and then the hard decision is, how do we do it with the money is available? And that will change our priority, so.
As far as this truck, I don't see any way that we can come up with what, I know it's a priority, I know all about that. I think it needs to be a committee set up to go seek funding, and it's gonna be private mostly, and we may get it from, some grant somewhere. But it's so far out of reach that we won't be able to do it on our own here. We're gonna have to, and I'd say take somebody off the fire committee, somebody off the finance, put Bobby on it, one of his, firemen, and just have a committee sitting down and brainstorming how to get the money. Cause
And, I can tell you, Reggie, notes for the, town manager's report, because that's one of the things I request for the fire committee, fire police committee, is to talk about truck vehicles. And that's the place to, we have to come forward with that solution, because same thing, you look at it, it's on here, it's put on here because it's been a topic that's been brought up multiple times.
it's gonna have to be a future price.
Most
I mean,
definitely.
If whatever we're working on today, if we had the money, we could, pull the trigger and get it financed and so on, it's still gonna be a problem. So we need to kind of know what it's gonna be a few years down the road when we finally just say, we're gonna buy one.
Right, and it definitely takes more of a plan than just a one-year budget item.
Looking over the list, I've done some prioritizing myself, and I think that, number one is for me, anything with dealing with public safety. even if it has to be dealt with in a different way, but it ought to be front and center for us. But in the same breath, I also think the very last one on your list there, the SNR Bridge, I don't know why it's called SNR Bridge, but the embankment down there, that's the entrance to the town, and it tells people who we are as they drive into town, and that's on a daily